Hello, everybody. We're about to get going here. Hope everyone's enjoying the springtime. We've had some beautiful weather here in Chicago. Really nice stuff. Oh. Let's see if I can get this a little bit closer. All right. Hey, John W. Part-Time Comics is here. Thanks for checking in, pal. So tonight, we're gonna look at some of this stuff here on the desk. We've got some original art from my Kickstarter campaign, ERIS, which is going on right now, and we just hit our goal actually earlier this evening. Yes, Jeremy says congrats. Thank you, Jeremy. We hit our initial goal of 11,000, and now we're just headed to stretch goals. So the next one will be to have a source book included in there, which will have information about the characters. And then after that is some printing upgrades, which I'd really like. Colored edges on the books, maybe a spot varnish on the cover. And then that third one is a alternate cover by Danny Warren Johnson, which hopefully we'll be able to make that one happen as well. If we can, it'll be a mad dash to get those ready in time. But if we can, if we can't, oh well. But hopefully we can make that one too. I'm a little discombobulated, so I'm gathering my thoughts here. But yes, thank you everyone who backed us so far. And hey, now go ahead and head over there and back us now, and you'll see, you're basically just buying the book because we're pretty positive it's going to happen now at this point. So, again, thank you everyone who contributed. Stinker Buns is here. Woo, bring on the stretch goals, he says. Yes, definitely bring on those stretch goals. Sounds like everybody can hear me, so I'm going to take out this headphone. But yeah, it's good times, man. Really exciting. I was starting to get a little stressed out, and the numbers will still go up and down a little bit. Like as soon as you make your goal, sometimes people cancel their pledge, or some people will change their pledge at that point. But a lot of times what happens is you get more people on board because it's less of a gamble for them to throw their name in the hat there. So yeah, tonight we're going to look at some of the original art from ERIS because that is a level that I still have some rewards in. And I know it's one of the bigger ticket items, but I'm really happy with how these pages turned out. So I kind of wanted to do a walkthrough of those. And then we're going to look at Brass, which if you've never seen Brass before, it's this really weird comic that came out in the 90s by Richard Bennett and Aaron Weisenfeld and Monica Bennett. And yeah, it's pretty wild. And this is sort of like an artist edition of it. So lots of black and white stuff today. And then I'm going to try to maybe do a quick cable. I've been drawing all day on a thing that I cannot talk about, but I can't wait for everyone to hear about. I'm pretty exhausted, and so yeah. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna look through some of these things and check it all out. So let me set this aside for now, and let's take a little bit of a look here at some pages from ERIS, or ERIS, depends on who you are. This is a sequence that some of it is on the and warning, there's some nudity in here, but it's just lines on paper. Everybody, don't worry. So yeah, what we have here is some pages. Some of them are on the Kickstarter preview, and I don't know if all of them are, but I'm going to go ahead and show them to you anyway because they're not very spoilery. It is just the beginning of a battle, and as you know, no one's going to be surprised that there's battles in ERIS because that's kind of what we're all about in ERIS is battles. So one of the first things I wanted to mention when I talk about these pages is that these are sort of like, this is my passion project. So I put a lot of love into every commission I do and every page I do for anyone I'm working for and everything. But these are like, this is like my my brain and my soul on paper. And so they are very special to me. And, it makes it even more special when people do decide to pick them up, because these are the kind of pages that, you only do if you have time and you really, really care about the project. And so there's details on these and finish on these that I don't typically get to include on every other thing I do. And original art stuff is always really fun. I collect original art, and I think that, even though I don't have a very big collection, each piece has special meaning to me. And so if you've never bought a piece of original art, I encourage you to do so, whether that's an ERIS page from the campaign or whether it's from someone else, any artist. Buy some original art. It will enhance your soul, and every time you look at it, you're going to have a deeper connection to the work or to the artist, and maybe to the themes of the piece, whatever it is, whatever you connected with in it. You get to relive it every time you look at it. So this is a sequence in order. Brunson says, yo. Jeremy says, listening and doing commissions. Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. So this sequence, I'm going to let you guys into my process here a little bit. So I have these 2 pages and then this 2-page spread here. And so we'll try to show them as best we can. I mean, I know you can't see everything on here, but the idea was that I have these long panels as the conversation starts between these 2 groups, the Vanguard, the ERIS Vanguard, and this cult. And as the tensions grow, the paneling starts to topple over. And so as it topples over, it kind of, the action continues to grow and grow, kind of as the communication breaks down and as this wave of violence goes across the scene, until on the next page, which nobody's seen yet. Well, some people have that have, podcast people and stuff, and friends, but it's a big, it's a big splash. And so I hope some of this stuff comes across, because these are the kind of details that I put into this kind of project that, again, when you're working, say, with a writer or on something that has kind of a sets of rules and timelines, you can't always put all these kind of things in there. The other thing is, I've mentioned before, all the pages of ERIS have the lettering bubbles on the page. There's a couple instances where maybe I added a bubble after the fact, but a lot of the times I've had all the words figured out before I get to paper. And so I can do cool tricks like this too, where I have multiple sort of word balloons coming from the crowd here that form these big balloons, and it's sort of like each what the concept was is that each one of these people is saying like a noise or a vowel or a something, and those things are forming the sentences that they do together. So I thought that would be a cool way to display kind of that groupness of these people. And then being kind of towards the finale of the book here, relatively, I mean, this is early in the chapter, but far along in the whole story, I realized I didn't have like a really cool page that had every one of the characters' faces close up with sort of an expression that I felt represented them. And so this was a cool thing I wanted to do before I, with the busyness of the next few pages, I wanted some big sort of, I hate to say hero shots, because I don't know if we would call these guys heroes, but, hero type images of the characters. And I like the idea of them overlapping, like kind of like, cards in a deck or something like that. And then just kind of an abstract background of the bodies all around them. This was a fun one. This one, even though it's just heads on paper, sometimes those are the hardest ones to pull off. There's nothing you can hide. And so this one took a lot of work. I remember working really hard to get this one how I wanted it. And I was fiddling with it on... I usually don't do super detailed pencils, but on this one I did, because I really wanted it to get like each one of the guys just right. And then this is the next 2-page spread. And so if people back at the 2-page spread level, you'll get pages like this one. And there's only a few of these. And they're expensive because, honestly, I'm trying to imagine parting with these. They're very like, I worked on them so long. I had that backwards now that I'm looking at it. But I worked on these so long. What I would do is I would take I would ink this all at different times and points, right? So I would be inking this guy up here for a little while, and then maybe penciling something over here, and then get that to inks, and then penciling something over here. And a lot of times what I'll do is I try to knock in the main characters of focus first, because I want them to look like exactly how I want them to look, like whatever their motion is or whatever. And then use the other figures as sort of complementary to whatever they're doing. And then you can build in depth with overlapping the panel gutters here is what I was trying to do. I think it worked pretty good. What are you guys saying out there? Is this interesting to anybody at all? Yeah, Jeremy did an awesome pinup for us. Thank you, Jeremy. He posted it earlier. I think I retweeted it. Edison is here. Also did an awesome pinup for us. But yes, thank you guys for showing up. What other kind of details can I get into on this? Let's see here. So a thing that ERIS was sort of my conceptual training ground for these ideas I was having about how to show motion. A lot of my earlier work that I'm sure most people, probably even some of you guys tuning in right now, I know a lot of you guys have been around for a minute with my stuff, and I really appreciate that, but a lot of people aren't aware of my older work, like Simon and Gary and Victus. Those are 3 other books that I did way before I did any of this stuff. And there was a stillness to a lot of that work. It was very calm. I've showed some of it on here before. Some of it's still kind of out there if you look it up. But there wasn't a lot of action. And then at the end of Victus, I did this chase scene, and I started messing with like speed lines. And they are much more traditional speed lines, right? Just straight lines across the paper, and I was still trying to figure out how that worked. And then at that point I realized, I was working on Victus, and I actually didn't finish Victus because I started to work on this instead, because I immediately had this concept pop in my head, and not just kind of the idea of the whole book, but the idea of how to push myself to try to do different things with how I do motion, and do something with more energetic characters again, because I hadn't done that since I was like a teenager. All my work through college and early adulthood was much more indie, sort of story focused, static, not in a bad way, just a different style of working. And so that's when I started messing with these zigzags and swoops and stuff, and that came from watching a lot, reading manga, stuff like Baki, Grappler Baki especially, but even just watching anime, things like Ninja Scroll, and the way when characters will move an arm, sometimes it'll look, it almost looks wobbly or like it's distorted. Or if you watch a video of a pitcher throwing a ball, like throwing a fastball, the way their body moves. And so how do you show that kind of whip motion without having emotion, without video? And so I was just thinking, if you track the kind of position of a punch at different moments in time, and you sort of turn that into a singular line representation. And this is getting pretty heady. If it's not interesting, I apologize, but these are the things I think about when I'm working. And I thought, if I was the kind of person who wanted to have a piece of artwork, when I've got pieces from other people, I do like to ask them a little bit about how they felt about it and what they were thinking about when they were working on it. And the other thing that I got really happy with, that I am trying to carry forward in some of my newer stuff, is just being really less worried about distorting my faces and my figures. Once you started distorting things like their limbs, it opens up the door to just being a little more abstract. And this stuff is, again, maybe harder to pull off in a project where you're working for somebody who wants a specific look to carry throughout a book. They don't like as much variance, or at least that seems to be the assumption. And so sometimes I can't do stuff like that. Although on the Schlub, I got to mess around with this a lot too. The Schlub was kind of in the middle of me working on this. I had drawn some of this, and then I did the Schlub, and then I came back and drew more of this. Brunson just backed earlier today. Looking forward to seeing it. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And I think you won't be disappointed. I think it's a really fun project. I mean, it's the kind of project I made because it's the kind of project I want to see, right? I made it for me, and hopefully some other people like it too, you know? So ERIS is on Kickstarter right now. If you just, I think the link is in the description, and if it's not, if you just go and type in ERIS on the Kickstarter thing, you will find ERIS there, and we've still got tons of great rewards like original art. I think there might be one commission slot left, and you know, books and on all that kind of stuff. And our next stretch goal is going to be to have a source book, kind of early image style source book that tells you about the characters, featuring some art from some of our friends here, and that'll be really fun. So yeah, oh yeah, brass. I forgot we were going to do brass. Let's do that real quick. So brass, man. Has anybody heard of this out there? You guys heard of brass? I think it was a 3-issue miniseries, because I found it on issue 3. I remember buying it at the comic book store when I was, I don't know, 13, 14, something like that. 1990, what year was this? 96, so I would have been a little bit older, 15, I guess. And it's just a wild book, man. I mean, look at the design of this crazy mech thing. I had never really seen anything like it. It kind of has some Japanese influence, but it doesn't look like a Gundam or anything. It's still got musculature, looks kind of more like an American superhero comic. And I still don't even really know a whole lot about the book other than what I've, you know, read the issues and stuff. But it is one of those ones that stuck with me from an early age. When I saw it, I was just like, man, this thing looks crazy. And I would open it up and get inspired. And I was talking to my friend Jay Lyston, who's an inker for Marvel Books. He's inking a Predator thing right now, I think. And he's been around forever, and he knows all the tools and all the stuff. You know, he knows how to ink very well. And he says this is the best ink book ever, you know. And it is just chock full of different techniques and stuff, and different sorts of wild designs and things. It's going to be hard to see even some of the details on here, but you can see that they had a manga influence. This is very Atomo looking back here, but it still feels like 90s image style, you know, exaggeration. And so and then this specific one, so the original comic is colored, right? But my friend, I believe this is correct, my friend Don Cardenas, host of Comics Coffee Metal, which I will be appearing on, I believe, later this week. So go follow that channel. He gifted this to me. I believe that's the person who gave it to me. If I'm wrong, Don will correct me. But he gifted this to me, and I am forever grateful because I find it to be a constant source of inspiration. So anyway, it's got a little bit of everything. And the art on this is by Richard Bennett, who's primarily, I mean, I think an inker from, I've usually seen him as an inker or finisher. He finished over Jim Lee on some Wildcat stuff. He's finished over some other people. Probably he's finished over Aaron Weisenfeld, one of my favorite artists, as we've talked about before. So Aaron wrote the story, or story was by Aaron and Richard, dialogue by Aaron, art by Richard Bennett. And Richard Bennett and him worked together on that Wolverine Deathblow crossover, which is also very rad. But look at these backgrounds. Look at this. This is crazy. It's insane, man. It's so beautiful the way he's captured the look of the stained glass. He's got a Pieta back here. Spirals, these staircases going up, and like lighting grids. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, these are the things you know, maybe pick one and make it look cool, but he's done all of them, and it's brilliant. It's wonderful. And there's probably some bashing of references here, right? I think he's probably bashed together some different references, and I'm not sure even if some of this could be statted down, but it looks like it's all inked. And look at all these textures. He gets these beautiful textures, and it'll be this textured hair right next to the solid black on this forehead. It's really cool stuff. It's high level kind of brush hatching and nib hatching. There's so many different tools used on this. Even these close-ups on the eyes, it goes so hard. It's just got these lovely Scott Williams-esque, and you know, Bennett did these too. These kind of thinly hatched lines. But what's good when the action starts, it's when it gets really crazy. These guns, I mean, that's like a Michael Golden gun right there. That's tight. It's a pretty wild book. I'm not sure I remember what, like, I guess there's like some sort of metal device thing that escape, you know, I don't know if it's like a weapon, and it attaches to people and then builds this mech suit around them. Look at that, man. What's more 90s than that right there? Dude in a trench coat but no shirt, ripped up jeans, combat boots, long hair, just diving out of a out of a building. Oh boy. And yeah, all this piping and stuff. This is really cool. Okay, and then when he gets to start drawing all the crazy machinery, it reminds me a little bit of that comic Virus. They made a movie of it too, but there's a comic called Virus, had that, but like more with guts mixed in with it. So yeah, they're like test subjects that get these sort of like little parasite things that go inside of them and turn into big giant things. But then check this out, man. Look at this jet right here. He's got screen tones on here. You know, big bold areas still, but all this nice kind of, you know, all these gears and a huge explosion back here. Dutched it. Man, this is really beautiful. Got some big robot dudes here. Anyway, Don gave this to me. I'm not sure how available these are for other folks, but you know, if this is like, I would say if this is like under like $30, it's worth it. It's pretty cool. I don't know if they even made one of the other two issues. I wish they had. Brunson says looks really cool. Jeremy says sick. Edison says yes, it's insane. It is very insane. So yeah, I should be on Don's show this week. Comics Coffee Metal. He's got so many episodes and so many guests. If you're just looking for something to listen to while you work, find an episode that has maybe a creator you like or something. And if you like metal and coffee, Don is an expert on all of those things. So I'm just going to tighten up this cable and we'll do some quick inks. This is going to be a fast one because I've been kind of all day while I was working, I've been sort of like a little too, you know, like zoned in there. And I feel like I was sucking the energy out of the stuff I was working on. And that might not be true. It probably looks fine, but like I'm in my head about it. So I want to sort of just do a loose thing really quick. We got cable here, of course, because, I mean, you know, right? And we're going to have him with a knife for a switch, right? That's my fresh take on cable. It's got a knife now. I think I don't like that angle there. When I was a kid, the coolest knife you could have would have been Rambo's knife. And I remember there was always these catalogs, like guns and ammo and stuff that my dad would get that had like, you know, you could buy the Rambo knife, a replica of the knife from Rambo. Brunson, listen to my interview with Manny. That was pretty good. Thank you, man. I think I mentioned it last week too, but yeah, I did an interview with Manny Draws, Manny Tavares. He is an awesome dude, and he did an awesome pinup that I posted on the Kickstarter campaign for us. It was painted, and so if you go over to his channel, not only can you listen to an interview I did with him about ERIS, but you can also see him. It's like a time lapse of him making the what's it called, the pinup for us. And so it's kind of a double whammy. And his art is super rad, man. When he showed it to me, the pinup he did for us, he was like, let me grab it really quick. I was like, oh, this is so rad, man. And then he sent it to me, and I didn't realize he painted it like in like real paint. And it turned out so cool, man. And it's extra big. It's bigger than 11 by 17. So I was like, dang, bro. It is so dope, though. The textures he's got on the gloves here and on the chest. Nice, bold line on this guy. And then kind of the fading of this guy. And the little dudes here by the stumps. This is rad, man. Manny rules. Go check out that interview. Go check out his art. Rambo knife as the go-to knife. The knife in Cobra, yeah, the one with the knuckles on it. My buddies and I were just talking about Cobra today. Cobratty, man, what a movie. Those kind of movies don't get made anymore, for better or worse, you know. I love me some Cobra though, man. That Mercury that he drives in that is sick. It is sick. And it's got that weird guy with the weird face from X-Files. What's his name? Brian something? Oh, my friends would kill me because I can't remember it right now. Anyway. Cable is fun because he's almost like a... I look at him as almost like a graffiti name. You know, like he's like this thing that you can sort of just do in whatever style you feel like doing, and it can work still. Maybe we'll make him a little bloody here. Maybe he's been in a little bit of a battle or something, right? We're gonna do his funny hair here. Maybe he's got like scratch on his head. I don't know. We'll see. Bullets. Got bullets here. They're all empty. Bullet holders. Pouches. His other arm is over here somewhere. Here I am. I'm like, oh, this will be quick, but sometimes I usually do like a little sketch before I even go to a 6x9. my buddy Jim Terry was making fun of me. We were at a show together, and it was C2E2, I think, and I had a commission to do. It was this size, 6x9, and I was over there like doodling, and he's like, "Are you doing sketches for a 6x9?" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I like your energy, man." So even on these, I usually will, but on this one I didn't. I just started this one, so if it's terrible, you know, don't judge me too harshly. All right. I'm trying to decide how goofy I want him to look and how serious. That's a little better. Okay, he's got a metal arm, right? Man, I draw pretty hard. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Why not? Just put a vein on it there. I remember there's this one time in the early cable stuff that I was reading, like X-Force, where Liefeld had his like, there was like little bits of his armor was coming off kind of from his like wrap. Maybe I could do something like that. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, you know, something. Here. Okay, so I started Havoc last night. That new movie on Netflix. That's it's got Tom Hardy in it. It's by the director of the Raid movies. I'm a huge fan of that guy's movies. So I got to try to finish that tonight because I didn't finish it yet. So far, it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. Tom Hardy doing a weird voice as always. But yeah, I hope to finish that up. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that yet, but I had forgotten that it was coming out after being stoked for it when I'd heard about it initially announced. Nick Force, hey all. Hey Nick. Congrats. Ichthus says, congrats. Hey Ichthus, how you doing? Doing the variant cover. Well, it's not a variant cover, it's a pinup, but yes, it's very cool. Ketchup and cutting pizza with scissors. That movie was awesome, says Brunson. Shao Kahn. Alright. This knife is not quite what I wanted. It's got to be something about it that needs fixed here. It's the angle, I think. Thanks for clarifying. No problem, buddy. We're all in this together. Not an issue. I'm not crazy about that right there. And it's supposed to be quick though, Tyrell. I'm not crazy about that. Something. Dude, I'm in love with this new eraser. I love it. Little sumo guy. Sumo grip. This is dope. I'm getting more of these for sure. For sure. There he is. There he is. All right, let's do some big slappy inks on here. Good energy and bulk, Jeremy says. Thank you. Do you have any other projects in the works after the ERIS campaign? Well, yeah, definitely. I know what my next passion project is going to be. I'm not talking about it yet, but I have already started writing it, and you know, we'll see how that ends up coming out. But and then I have a gig right now that I cannot talk about, but it's so exciting. As soon as I can talk about it, it'll be here, and yeah, we'll be able to look at some of the art and stuff at some point. So yeah, man. Beyond that, I don't know though. That's the near future. But the next thing I do, one thing I will say about it is that I kind of want to try to do something a little bit more ongoing, or you know, hopefully, you know, ongoing, instead of just small things. But who knows? I might have to do a few small things here and there right now, which I'm very open to. But yeah, the next bit here, I've got some things. Hopefully it can be announced soon. And it's been really fun. Really fun. Give him a little bit of a shadow here. I've not been happy with this brush pen today. Maybe that's why I was getting frustrated earlier. It's like I don't want to admit that it's not working right now. I think it's just because it's at the end or the beginning of a cartridge, which it does sometimes. And I have not been happy with it. Like I've been fighting with it all day. So who knows? Let's just see what he does right now. Tools are revolting. Get this eye nice and wacky. trying to do the right thing here and find some black shapes instead of not doing that. Go-to character when I want to do a warm-up piece? Good question. I think we all know it's Cable. Cable's usually my easy warm-up. Depends on what I'm going to draw, though. If it's going to be something more, it all depends, yeah. Wolverine's another one that pops up a lot, or who else do I like? Oh, Venom. I like to draw Venom a lot. Venom's good if I'm trying to loosen up. Cable's good if I'm just wanting to not think too hard. Today is one of those days. All right. Before I forget, put some damage on here. Alright, let's get some good shapes on the arm here. Today was my first like whole work day though in like 5 days. So I'm kind of, sometimes I'm shaking the dust off when I get back to the table, it seems like. So earlier today I was getting a little frustrated, but you know, it's all part of the process. So I figured let's do a fun one here. No stakes. I'm just going to go ahead and do this in black. It's X. Who's everybody's favorite X-Men out there? Everybody's got a favorite X-Men. Come on. I don't know if mine would be Cable, but he's just my favorite one to draw for sure. loose grip. Like he's kind of just barely hanging on here. All right, let's get the knife in here, and then I can erase while it's still wet. There we go. Something like that. All right. Here. All right, let's see here. Edison, always admire those artists who do warm-ups. Seems like if I do warm-up, take me time getting work done. You know, Edison, that's absolutely the kind of thing that I can relate to and have felt at many times. I'm like, who has time to warm up? But you know, everything changes as time goes on. I don't always warm up, but one thing I will usually do is before I start on the paper, I'll just kind of do a few marks on a scrap piece of paper or something. But yeah, you know what I do like though is a cool down, which is kind of what this is, which is more like, okay, I've been maybe zeroed in on something all day. Can I just kind of zoom back out and do something that, you know, it's just for fun, and so that it doesn't matter if it's like perfect, you know. And that really helps me feel a little better the next day when I come back to the table, because then I'm ending my time at the table with something a little nicer. Whereas if you just walk away from a bad drawing day, which happens all the time, yeah, it just sucks. Then you come back the next day and you're like, ugh, yesterday was bad. Now today's going to be bad, you know? And then you get in your head. Or you do something that sucks and you're like, oh, well, I got that out of my system. All right. Let's see. Cyclops for Ichthus, very cool. Jeremy Simple's Wolverine, of course. So you probably were really happy this last week with that new Wolverine book. Nightcrawler in the Rain sketch from October. Thanks, Stinkerbuns, for remembering that. That was good. Nightcrawler's awesome. He's one of my favorites for sure. I mean, growing up, it was probably Wolverine and Psylocke, you know? But then, as I got older, I don't know. I think Forge is really cool. Professor X. Wolverine's still pretty cool, but he was so much cooler before Origin, in my opinion. I think that the best they should have just left the only bit of backstory as Weapon X. That's what I think. But I know that there's a lot of stories you want to tell with the character and lots of time you can go into and stuff. But because even Weapon X, nothing was fully explained. It's still got sort of a broken memory aspect to it, and I just thought that was one of the more intriguing aspects of the character, was that he struggled with memory or knowing where he's from or how long he's been around, and I like the idea that he wouldn't really know. But anyway, so I don't know if Wolverine's my favorite anymore. Maybe I'll draw with this Tombow a little bit. I haven't been using this very much. I'm just goofing around here. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to go with that for this shoulder pad area here. Storm, yeah, Storm's a good pick. Nick says that's the one that got him to get a commission. Best stuff was the old stuff. The mystery being lost is less interesting. I agree. Yeah, I agree. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Jeremy. You get it. We're just going to get a little scribbly here. Did that on a recent piece, and it's kind of fun. It's the kind of thing you can't really get away with as much on like a book, but I don't know, maybe I should just do it and see what happens, right? I just feel like sometimes you want a little more finish, but I guess you don't have to. I try to be a little messy though. I think that a lot of the stuff that's too clean is falls kind of flat for me, and so I don't want my stuff to be too clean. These are the things you think about though when you're sitting here all day. Well, you know, one way to think about a warm-up too, y'all, is a warm-up can just be, like I said, making some marks, right? Just getting your arm going so that you're not like going cold, you know? Because it is sort of like a sport in the sense that, you know, if you're doing it correctly, you're using your body to your advantage, right? You're using your whole arm when you can, and so stretching out a little bit is good, a little warm up of your body. I do that. All right, I think, how do I want to handle the rest of that on the bottom? I think what I want to do, what do I want to do? Okay. There we go. Yeah, Edison, you have some really great stuff, man. That Darth Vader one was pretty brutal. That was a little excessive. I liked it though. Yeah, if you guys have not checked out Edison's work and Jeremy's work as well, and I mean everyone on here, lots of good folks right now on the stream hanging out. Like this and Bronson, everybody here. You guys are a bunch of artists. I think y'all know though. Edison's been crushing it. All right, guys, I'm going to put a little bit of white on this and we're going to call it. This one is, he is what he is. Who doesn't love a cable in every form they take? And then I have a date with Havoc. Not from the X-Men. Although he's a cool X character too. I think Havoc gets a bad rap. I like anything that explores like a brother dynamic, you know. As someone with brothers, I just was always interested in characters that were related, which is a common thing, I guess, in the X-Men. It's a family affair. Yeah, Edison, are you using markers on your stuff at all? Like sometimes it looks like you have like a gray tone, or is that just like an ink wash? It's working really nice. I don't mess with that kind of thing enough because I'm too scared. Just try to stick to black and white. Killer ink work. Worn out inking tool works to our advantage. That's right. Hand lasers. Sure, man. Hand lasers, I guess. If that's what you want. Pentel is a color brush pen that has multiple colors, but they also have a gray color. Huh. Okay, okay. I might have to check into that. I have some Tombow grays, but I don't like... It's like the variation between the... I don't know. For some reason, the ones I have there, the variation is not very good. Like, it just goes from really dark to really, really light. I'm like, no, I want gradients. But you can build them up is what I usually do with them, but they run out so fast. So I'm open to hearing about some other options for sure. I'm hoping to add some of that kind of stuff to my next round of commissions. So anybody who gets one for the Kickstarter, I'm going to try some new things. I'm going to get some, maybe some paint markers, and I'm going to try some, maybe some gray tones or some ink washes. I don't know, something different. I'm not sure what yet, but you know, whatever the next evolve is, I'm going to give it a shot on these. And then I'm not sure when my next list will be after that. Because I am not doing any other shows. Well, that's not true. I have one more show coming up, but it's not really a commission show. It's more of a just come by comics show. and that is Cake, the Chicago Alternative Comics Expo. That'll be this year in, August? If you go to the Cake Instagram, they have it on there. Anyway, I will be at that show. So if you are in the Chicagoland area, I encourage you to come. This year I'll actually be tabling instead of organizing, so I'll be at my table, whereas last couple of years I haven't really been able to be selling stuff. And I'm hoping to have a new mini that I will debut at Cake. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. I have till the summer, but I'm hoping to have a new mini ready just for Cake. So yes, if you want to come out for that. It is a good time. Okay, I'm about done with this, I think. I don't think I'm going to get much more out of it than what I got. This cable looks how I feel. I'm tired, man. It's been a long day of work, which is great. But I kind of don't want to look at anything in front of my face anymore. So, with that, I will remind everybody, like, subscribe, obviously, right? But also, maybe go to Kickstarter right now. There should be a link in the description of the video. But if not, go to Kickstarter. Type in ERIS, that's ERIS. That is the name of my sci-fi comic, which we showed some pages from earlier. And I encourage you all to go maybe give it a look and consider backing us. We have about 7 days left on the campaign. And we just met our goal, so everything now is gravy, like as far as like getting more whistles and bells in the book. So help us get our stretch goals going. But thanks guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the amazing work that Neo and Jeremy did on the pinups. And look out for me on Comics Coffee Metal later this week. They're over on YouTube as well. But thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy.